background of the shot, and so it looks really weird right there.
Well, without it, it'll be glare on your lens, and you won't be able to see him.
Is there any way where it could just not be?
Okay, I got that back for you.
Oh, okay, wonderful. Awesome. Okay, sounds good.
Are they rolling?
Hey, the sheriff's about to speak. Are you guys rolling on this live? You probably want to roll on it. Yeah, sheriff's gonna give an update. He's like right over here. About to have a
Hey, Drew, can you get somebody to roll on this?
Okay.
It's Neil. I got backpack 3. Sheriff's about to speak.
Okay. Cool.
Okay, good. All right, put that. I'm gonna roll too. Hey, Drew.
What's our team so uninterested? It's like, dude, why is he so uninterested? He's so over it. Like this.
Hi. How you doing, sir?
Better now. Well, you need to hear something. Sure.
Anybody else is flipping any mics, are they? Okay, everybody go ahead and step there. Can we lower, yeah, is it possible to lower those mics a little bit?
Everybody ready?
We're all good?
All good? Okay. Hi, my name is Sheriff John Samaniego. That's S-A-M-A-N-I-E-G-O. I'm the Sheriff of Shelby County. This to my left here is Chief of Police from Alabaster. Our special response team is a multi-jurisdictional team, and his officers were involved in this with us, so I thought it'd be appropriate for him to stand with me. Basically, this was a mental pickup order on an individual that, quite honestly, we needed to do a wellness on, and nobody would come to the door. So as a result, what we did is we had the court order with us. We knocked on the door, announced continually. Nobody would come to the door. So we breached the door, and in a tactical response, what we did was at the same time we breached the door, we raked a window, which is to cause a distraction in the event there's a hostile person in there. As a result, that person fired at deputies out the window. At that time, the entry team backed out of the door, and the person came down the hallway shooting at the entry team. We returned fire, and we visibly saw where the subject was hit. Next thing, we retreated. We got our negotiating team, and our SWAT team came out. We went through our regular routine trying to negotiate. We got zero response. We opened the door remotely using a tactical tool. At that point, we sent the drones inside, and the drones went in to clear it. The subject was sitting in a recliner in his living room, but he would not respond. At that point in time, we gave him several hours, continually to try to negotiate, trying to get a response. I guess it was somewhere around 11:30 we decided to deploy gas into the residence. At that time, we got no response whatsoever. We had the drone available. We could see the subject laying on a bed in a bedroom. Still had not seen the elderly gentleman that the whole pickup was for. So at that point, we deployed a flashbang in that bedroom, and the subject did not move. So we feared that he was in grave condition at that point. So the entry team went in. At that point, they discovered the male in the bed deceased, the one that had fired out on us, and we had returned fire. Order for, and he was in the bathtub. Looked like he had been deceased for several months. At that point, now we have turned the scene over to SBI, Aaliyah SBI, to investigate the officer-involved shooting. We will be, of course, doing our own internal investigation, but I don't have any specifics. But as we always do, we will send a detailed press release out. Once we get all, probably Aaliyah will be the one you need to respond to.
So it started at about 8 this morning, is that right?
A little about 8:30.
And then when was it that you actually made entry and discovered the body?
About 1:30.
Just to clarify, father-son relationship, the father had been deceased in the tub for what appears to be...
I'm not a pathologist, but he had been there a long time.
Okay. But so he wasn't killed today, he didn't die today?
No, he was...
And the son
there was a lot of decomposition.
And the son had been the one that shot at deputies in exchange.
Right, correct.
But the order was for the elderly gentleman.
Yes.
And the son was alive and died later in the bed. He moved from recliner to bed.
Yes. Of course, we intensified the tear gas when he would not respond to it, and that's why he moved into the bedroom. But he wouldn't respond to it even in there.
So would you say this was a wellness check for the elderly gentleman?
Well, it was a court order. That's what we were concerned with, the main one that called us, and we started this investigation about 2 months ago. So anyway.
We understand from earlier interviews that this was very well planned out, and you had been planning this for some time.
Yeah.
What made you feel like you needed that much preparation for something like that?
Well, whenever you're doing a mental health pickup, it's a very fluid situation. Sometimes it goes off without a hitch. Sometimes there's violence involved. So we have to be prepared for the plan, And sometimes it's not the person you're picking up that causes it. It might be relatives or other people, but usually the relatives are involved in getting them picked up. So, it's just a dangerous situation. So there's been many deputies killed in the line of duty doing mental health pickups.
So you guys had a shelter in place for kind of this neighborhood earlier today. Has that now been lifted?
Yes. And we also made a plan for the children in school. They were going to stay at the school, but now I think probably within maybe 2 hours the road will be cleared after the scene's worked.
And which specific house was it? Can you tell us that?
No, I don't. I don't want to tell you the specific house, but it was on the main boulevard there.
And we had neighbors telling us that the windows and things were boarded. Can you confirm that?
They weren't boarded, but they did have opaque cardboard and stuff in the sun.
Was there any concern coming into this about the mental condition of the son?
Not to our knowledge.
So, can you tell us what took 2 months to kind of make this happen today?
Well, it's an addiction and a mental health situation. So both are very, both an eviction and mental health are very volatile. So what we tried to do is work with the courts and got a stay for the eviction, and then decided to use the mental health pickup to try to find a solution for the situation. Always plan every operation, but even though you plan for the worst, sometimes you still get the worst, you know. But we try to plan to be able to handle anything that comes our way.
Was the ex-wife the mother of the son?
Yes, but they had been divorced over 10 years, and she lived in another state, but she called with concerns, so when she couldn't get in touch.
Did you alert anyone else in the neighborhood here?
We actually evacuated everybody on each side and in front of them, and then contacted through Everbridge to ask everybody else to shelter in place.
And that was before you guys made contact, or after shots were exchanged?
Before we ever did the operation period, we evacuated the people in close proximity, but Everbridge went out after this resistance.
So you trained for this. How did it go? How did it go through your training and plan?
Well, nothing's perfect. You can always improve. So we're going to have an after-action review on everything we did, and hopefully we'll find how to do things a little better, or maybe if there were certain things. When you have a standoff like this, probably the number one issue is people get complacent and they forget that the threat is right there, and they're walking around, and forget they need to be behind cover or out of line of fire. So that's, from a boss's standpoint, that's probably something I will bring up.
And did you guys know that the son was living in the home, or did you?
Yes, we had, in our investigation, talking to neighbors, they had seen the son bring garbage out to the street and go bring groceries into the house, but we suspected him to be there, but he just wouldn't answer the door.
And was the eviction order for the son or the father?
Father.
Okay, so everything was dealing with the dad. So
Right.
did you the son?
We really knew nothing about the son, but the father was, he was different, so we suspected there was some mental health issues.
And do you suspect there's foul play with the father's death? I know it's early.
We'll have at his level of decomposition, it'll take a pathologist to tell you.
And wrapping up injuries, so the only two that we have from this are the father and son that were inside the house. No deputies were injured,
No.
no neighbors.
Thank God. Nobody got injured other than the person that pressed violence upon us. Well, thank you so much for coming out. We really appreciate y'all covering. Like I said, there'll be a detailed press release come out. Lieutenant Summerall here. We'll be sure and get that out here timely. Hopefully before your 5 o'clock. So anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff.